All right. Allah,
Allah,
Father of the universe,
Father of the universe,
Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation,
and my salvation,
by night and by day,
by night and by day,
through his holy prophet,
through his holy prophet,
Drew Ali.
through Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam, I want to announce that the meeting is now open. First and foremost, we rise to give the highest praise to the Most High, the Father of the universe, Allah. We give honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality. We also give honors to the forerunner to the prophet, Brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We give honors to all the sheiks, all the adepts, and all the faithful Moors that make up the grand body of the Moorish divine and national movement. We give honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh by the Prophet, Brother Edward Mealy Ill. We also give honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheikh, Brother Keith Dandridgel, and honors to the Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and honors to all of you Ills and Bays in attendance. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Now, Brother Jackson Bey, would you please read the Divine Constitution and Bylaws?
Islam. I rise giving perfect praise to Allah and honors to the Prophet, Drew Ali, and honors to you Muslims. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all and may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live a life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national names to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meeting and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is through the Holy Prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the Dons of his father God, Allah. Noble Jew Ali founded North American prayer, Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Jew Ali. Amen. Moral Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Jew Ali, home office, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day.
Islamism. All right. Peace and thank you, brother. Excuse me. Appreciate you. All right. And we're going to be speaking today from chapter 22 of the Holy Quran. Hang on one second. Was trying to go live on Facebook at the same time. All right. If you're reading, that is on page 34. And just 1 minute, we'll have that up on the screen for you too. All right. Okay, don't look like that's gonna work. Islam. Oh, okay, we are live. Okay, we're working. All right, good. Okay, so here we go. All right, yeah, we're gonna be reading from chapter 22. That's on page 34 if you're reading from your Quran right now. And we'll just go ahead and get started. Go ahead and dive in. Just for those who haven't been reading everything with us, not the first chapters, chapters 2 through 19 focused on the life works of Jesus. And basically is revealing your connection to Allah within man. And then chapters 20 through 48 are dealing with our earthly salvation. Chapters 20 through 24 dealing with family values. Okay, and that's where we're at right now, chapter 22. And previously we were speaking on like chapter 20, types of women, informing men, teaching men the type of women to look out for. And then the next chapter is giving divine instructions, like marriage instructions, all right, for instructions for husband and wife, but it's mostly aimed towards the women, and it's letting them know the type of men to look for. And basically, what we were speaking about last week, we were being taught the science of mating, right? And that's something that our people are not taught, and we're not taught that on purpose, okay? And last week, speaking on that, I was sharing how I remember the minister Farrakhan had spoke on that. You know, he was saying that basically the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had told him that there were 3 scientific fields of knowledge that the slave master did not want the slave to learn. And that was basically, there was 3 sciences: the science of business, the science of warfare, and the science of mating. Okay, and then we can see how these things are denied to our community, to us as a whole. You know, it's definitely not taught in school, but it's denied to us as a whole to keep us in a subservient position, right? We also talked just briefly how in the 1800s, there was a discussion actually in the legislator in Virginia, where I can't remember off the top of my head the name of the representative who was speaking on the so-called slave, but he was speaking about us, talking about Asiatics, and he was talking about how if only they could remove the light or prevent the light from entering the slave's mind, then we will be at the level of beasts in the field. We will be savages, right? And they were talking about this, and when we're talking about removing the light, these are these sciences that they prevent us from learning, because these things enable you to be successful, prosperous, also having the knowledge of God within, right? So by keeping these things from us, it keeps us as perpetual slaves, right? You're giving birth to slaves instead of giving birth to gods. And it's just something that keeps going. And we see that happening, right? Obviously, if we don't know the science of mating and we're just having children, with the wrong people, they're coming up in a messed up way. They're not in a stable household. They're getting lost. They might get in the system, which of course makes you a slave once you get incarcerated. All different types of ways where we're producing future slaves. We just keeping the system going. Okay. And so when we're not taught how to properly marry and do these things, we can't produce a better future. Like, we know how to breed dogs, right? We know how to do pedigree dogs and all this stuff, but we don't even do this with ourselves. Okay, we do it with the animal kingdom. And so this is really important. And that's why it's important to get this message and to practice it, live it, so that we can also pass this on to our children. Extremely important. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into this. But basically these sciences aren't taught to us for a reason. So going in here with verse 1, take unto thyself a wife and obey the ordinance of Allah. Okay, take unto thyself a wife and become a faithful member of society. Okay, and I'm gonna pause right there real quick just to pull up the definition on ordinance. Okay, yeah, bear with me. Let's get this up here. And then two, if anybody, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to speak up. Okay, so I'm gonna get that definition or ordinance. Okay, just want to make sure we all have a clear understanding of what's being said here. Okay, so ordinance, we have an authoritative order, a decree, and then also says a piece of legislation enacted by a municipal authority. So basically this is a decree. This is an order, all right, an authoritative order. So take unto thyself a wife and obey the ordinance of Allah. That's an authoritative order, right? This is something that we're commanded to do. Okay, so this is basically it's not even just, these aren't just instructions. This is a command for all of us to take unto thyself a wife. All right, that's the order from Allah. And then become a faithful member of society. And these are the duties of the husband we're reading on. But examine with care and fix not suddenly, right? We can't be fickle. We have to be astute. We have to be very, very. We have to pay attention to detail, right? Because on thy present choice depends thy future happiness. If much of her time is destroyed in dress and adornment, if she is enamored with her own beauty and delighted with her own praise, right? And these are the things that society is pushing on us, to be enamored, to be putting all this time into, fickle things that don't matter, fashion, things that change constantly, dress and adornment, right? Jewelry, the clothes, makeup, if she's enamored with her own beauty and delighted with her own praise. And this is another thing that's pushed on us by society, right? Everybody wants to get likes on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. They call that stuff like social currency or something like that. Now they have a name for it, right? People act like they're getting paid off of getting likes and, people liking their posts, their pictures. But this is what's being pushed on as hardcore right now because it's time for us to rise up. So they want to keep us in a savage state. So if she's enamored with her own beauty and delighted with her own praise, if she laugheth much and talketh loud, if her foot abideth not in her father's house, and her eyes with boldness rove on the faces of men, though her beauty were as the sun in the firmament of heaven, turn thy face from her charms, turn thy feet from her paths, and suffer not thy soul to be ensnared by the allurements of imagination. All right, which is, pretty much what's happening. People getting caught up by the appearance and things that's being pushed on you. And then too, like with the verse right here where it says, if her foot abideth not in her father's house, this also could be talking about from another level, looking at this, you could be referring to the zodiac, referring to the father's house. You're going to have, you can see if she's not living in her higher self. If she's in her father's house, she's in the fourth house. That's where her parents would be. Or the first house represents life. So if she's not abiding in her higher self, right, in her father's house, don't even pay her any mind. Islam. And once again, it's easy to overlook this stuff. But as soon as you go on Instagram or something like that, you're being bombarded with the exact opposite, right? And I'm not knocking the females or the dudes, but I'm not knocking anybody. But this is what's being pushed on us, right? To push this stuff ahead of everything instead of developing character and developing your own soul, developing your own mental, right? We're putting it all on things that are going to change over time, things that are going to eventually degrade. Okay, so and then this is telling you, like, if she's stuck on these things that we're mentioning up here, turn your face from her charms, turn thy feet from her path, and suffer not thy soul to be ensnared by the allurements of imagination. Right? It's going to cause pain and suffering for your life. It's going to lead to turmoil for you and for the children that you will create. Right? This is a part of the science of mating. And then, of course, above that, we're taught the things to look for. Okay, so going to verse 4. But when thou findest sensibility of heart, joined with softness of manners and accomplished mind, right? So we need to be building up our mind. And these are the types of, for the men, these are the types of women you should be looking for, those who are building themselves up and not so much concerned with all of these outer things that don't really matter. And then concerned with, social currency, people liking their posts. Now, I see people, everybody's talking about OnlyFans, right? Yeah, the women that have the OnlyFans page or accounts or whatever. So this is what's being pushed hardcore. If that's the type of person you're going to actually wind up creating a child with, you're going to wind up creating, nothing but turmoil for your life and for the child that you're going to bring into the world. With the form agreeable, but when thou findest sensibility of heart, joined with softness of manners and accomplished mind, with a form agreeable to thy fancy, take her home to thy house. She is worthy to be thy friend, thy companion in life, the wife of thy bosom. Okay, and here it's saying worthy to be thy friend, thy companion, thy wife of thy bosom. I'm just going to go back to the previous chapter we're on, where it's giving advice to the women, to the Moabitess, and it's letting her know Islam. To Brother Dotson in the chat, not sure if you're El or Bay, this real family planning and birth control, Islam, right? Birth control is not even necessary if you're practicing this, the science of mating. Okay, so going back to this, where it's giving advice to the women, and it's telling her not to be, you're not a slave to his passions, right? You're to be his companion. You're to be his helper. You're to assist him in the toils of life, to soothe his heart with thy tenderness and recompense his care with soft endurance, right? So it's saying that you're not here just to merely gratify his loose desire, slave of his passion. But if we're just pumping body parts, right? Like if we're just pumping body parts, like, people are enhancing their butt, getting breast implants, doing all types of things. If this is what you're putting the emphasis on, right? And you're actually attracting men based off of these things, you are going to be a slave of his passion, because the only reason he's with you is to gratify his loose desire, right? And that's not going to lead to success. You're a person with a mind too. You have value. So you are here to assist in the toils of life. You are when two become one, you're supposed to be able to be more successful even than he could by himself, or than you could by yourself, right? You're supposed to both be able to come together and be a team, instead of just him doing it by himself, or you out here struggling by yourself. You have two people together and you're going to succeed. So you're supposed to be able to assist in this, right? So you don't want to place your wealth, just in your looks, and especially in body parts, right? You can't. That's not the way to go. It's going to lead to, misery. And then the children that are born out of that type of, union, where they're only coming together to gratify loose desires, those children are going to have it hard. So you're setting them up at a disadvantage. So this is just, it's saying the duty of the husband. Once again, this is for both of us, right? As it's advising men on what to look out for, this is again advising women on where they should place their attention, where they should place their value, right? How they should conduct themselves, not so that you can please a man, so that you can be successful. You don't want to bring someone, you don't want to devalue yourself, Islam. And so going to verse 5. O cherish her as a blessing sent to thee from heaven. Let the kindness of thy behavior endear thee to her heart. Right? So if you're searching for a woman based off of the advice, the divine instructions that you're given, right? That you're getting a companion who's going to assist, someone who's going to make the blessings that you two manifest, increase. So yes, you're going to cherish her. Islam, we have a hand raised.
Islam, praise to Allah, honors to his prophet, Noble Ali, honors to all you Moors in attendance. I just want to add that the prophet is setting up, opening up friendship and companionship in a relationship. Because if you cannot be friends, there's no way you can have a successful relationship. If you do not love yourself, you cannot love someone else. So this is a beautiful demonstration of teamwork and friendship and knowledge of self. Because if we don't study self, there's no way we can make anybody else happy, because it starts within. Islam.
Islam, that was on point. Okay, so just going back here to where we left off. All right. So obviously, if you're looking for a woman based off of the divine instructions, right, that's laid down here, then the woman that you're getting with is going to be a blessing. And you two, you know, together, working together as a team, whatever you're able to manifest, it's going to be greater than what you would do by yourself. So yes, you know, the man that's coming into your life will be a blessing. The woman that's coming to your life will be a blessing. You're going to cherish her, right? Let thy kindness of thy behavior endear thee to her heart. She is the mistress of thy house. Treat her therefore with respect, that thy servants may obey her. Oppose not her inclination without cause. She is the partner of thy cares. Make her also the companion of thy pleasures. Right? So this is definitely not, like, for Moorish Americans, we're not coming with some, you know, backwards ways of trying to oppress the woman or trying to act like someone's beneath us or anything like that. Right? This is recognizing the higher purpose that we have on this planet. And so you are to mate, or you are to union, as we're told, we're commanded, okay? Take unto thyself a wife and obey the ordinance of Allah. So we know that this is an authoritative command from Allah to take unto yourself a wife and become a faithful member of society. All right. So of course we're not going to treat a blessing from heaven as, you know, someone that we're here to dominate over, right? She's our companion. So oppose not her inclination without cause. She is the partner of thy cares. Make her also the companion of thy pleasures. Reprove her faults with gentleness. Exact not her obedience with rigor. Trust thy secrets in her breast. Her counsels are sincere. Thou shalt not be deceived. And this is important too, because like when you have a household, okay, and you know, your man isn't just your boyfriend. He's not just somebody you're just sleeping with. He's your husband. You're invested in each other. You can trust him. You're supposed to be able to come to him with anything, and he's not going to sin. He's not going to give you bad advice. He's going to give you advice just like if it was him, and vice versa with her. You're supposed to be able to trust her. And so that's a serious issue that, like, people have. There's people who's living with someone of the opposite sex and you can't even trust them, right? You got to run and get your phone. You don't want them to see your phones. You got stuff on there or something, you know, it's always something, right? Why? Because you're like kind of at war with each other. You can't really trust each other. And that's a part of the plan to spread this divide between the sexes, you know, within our community, to have it where we can't trust each other. There's even an agenda being pushed to push the men against the women and push the women against the men. And you have all these women saying toxic masculinity, and there's all types of things being pushed. There's all types of agendas being pushed. So it's extremely important to know divine instructions, so that regardless of what the fads are, regardless of what's being pushed tomorrow, or, you know, what's being pushed right now, you know which way to go, okay? Because there's a real agenda to have discord, to have distrust between us, right? You're supposed to be able to trust your secrets with her. She's supposed to be able to give you good advice, right? Thou shalt not be deceived. You can trust each other, okay? So that's really important. Like, if you don't have that, that's something that you really need to work on, because these are divine instructions. This is how you are able to be successful in life. This is how you are able to set your children up for success, you know, for to be wealthy, to be happy, you know, to not live in misery, to not keep producing slaves, all right? To keep producing people that are just going to be, you know, stuck in bondage, perpetual slaves, all right? This is all a part of the science of mating. So obviously, if you're getting with a woman just because she had a big butt or something like that, that don't mean you could trust her, right? Her counsels might not be sincere. She might be deceiving you, okay? And vice versa. Like, if you're getting with a man because of you know, money or anything like that, right? Tattoos or whatever you like. Okay, we have to rearrange our thoughts. We have to practice this first off so that our children can witness it, so that we can pass it on to them. Okay, so we have to do this. These are commands. And then it says, be faithful to her bed, for she is mother of thy children. And that's just, you know, common sense. I mean, obviously, it's going to cause trouble if you've got like 2 other women pregnant or something like that going on. It's too much. It's turmoil. And then your household, right? If you have one household and you two are focused on success for your household, you're good. But if you have stuff going on over here and over there, somebody else hitting you up for child support, just like the more stuff that's going on, the harder it is on you, the harder it is on your household. Okay. So, yeah, that's extremely important. When pain and sickness assault her, let thy tenderness soothe her affliction. A look from thee of pity and love shall alleviate her grief or instigate her pain, and be of more avail than 10 physicians. And then consider, this is the last verse, consider the tenderness of her sex, the delicacy of her frame, and be not severe to her weakness, but remember thine own imperfections. And this is, you know, this should be obvious for us. We're all different, right? Men have their strengths and weaknesses, and women do too. So you're not to hold, you know, physical strength or something over her like that makes you superior, right? And this is just a reminder because some people forget about this, but that's extremely important to keep in mind. And so, once again, though, I just want to just frame that up. Like, this is wrapping up kind of what we were hitting on before, like chapters 20 through 24 are family values, and that's really teaching you the science of mating. This is important. This was kept from our people for a reason, right? Why? Because when we don't practice the science of mating, we are putting out perpetual slaves. Okay? We can't not practice these things. You can't get with somebody because they have a bunch of tattoos or a big butt and then wonder why your life is miserable. Right? We created it. And in actuality, nobody has power over us. You know, I'm saying but they don't have power over us. They need us to co-sign on this stuff. We have to do it to ourselves because they don't have the power to do it to us. Okay? The Europeans who colonized us and who've been, you know, afflicting all types of unfair, crazy conditions and things on us, ultimately, they needed us to buy in to keep these things going. And we're the ones that's keeping it going at this point in time. So that's really all I had to share about that for chapter 22. But if anybody has anything they wanted to add, or anything they wanted to say about that, feel free to speak up.
I was thinking not only on a physical aspect, but also on a spiritual aspect, because to be a husband, you got to be a man, but we already know that man is mine, or you feel me? So, like, the wife would be our soul, our higher self. So marrying our, you know, I hope I'm trying to get is that's what I was feeling when I was that's what was resonating with me. Not only, you know, of course I agree with this chapter 100%, but also like we could the soul. Don't let your soul be. You gotta. I feel like you're like when it goes back to the chapter with Jesus, you know, the tools of the workshop of the mind. Basically, you being the man. You feel me? You being the man or the mind, and your soul being curious. You have to circle. What was it? Compass. Circle our passions, and you know, or use the tools of the workshop of the mind. So like, that really clicked with me when you had read oppose not her inclinations without cause. She is the partner of thy care. That one right there, it was that because our soul is curious and want to experience things, but we have to also have our mind on God, so that way we know our limitations and we do things in moderation. So that's what had spoke out to me, Islam.
Islam, brother, and thank you for sharing that. And if we're using those tools, right, the tools of the workshop of the mind, on a regular basis, right, because it's not like anyone is expecting any of us to automatically be perfect or know all of these things, right? It's a constant process of working and reworking and using these tools, right, to make sure, right, that we draw the circle around our passions and desires to keep them within the bounds of righteousness. And it's like this is something that we have to do on a regular basis, to make sure that we're on the pathway to success. And it's extremely important when we put all of these things together. That's when you can actually bring out perfected man. We can bring out Allah in man. Not respecting to, that's irregardless to gender. This is how you do it, by putting all of this together and doing it on a regular basis, and getting it to the point where you live and walk on this pathway on a regular basis. Islam. All right, and so that's how come in the beginning of the Holy Quran, it starts off with the fall, lets us know where we come from. We have a divine origin. That's also why in here, one of the later chapters is the divine origin of the Asiatic nations, right? In chapter 1, we have the fall, right? We're told that basically we came from Allah, okay? We're all thoughts of Allah, all right? And that's what we're given in the creation and fall of man. And then we're given the tools on how to rise back up. And so, these instructions, these commands that we're given, it's extremely important to put it into practice on a regular basis and always be a work in progress. Islam?
Islam.
Peace. I just want to say too, I would say take her to your home, take her home, like to imply that you should also have a space to place her in, as far as being a husband, to go ahead and build what y'all building.
Islam.
That's important too, because well, you know what, I don't want to I'm not sure how to word this, but yeah, it is important as a man, especially to be a provider, especially since this is one of the things that we're commanded to do. Like, this is our job, to provide for the family. So yeah, that should be the challenge then, if you don't have that yet, to get your household, to focus on getting that together, instead of worrying about chasing after females.
Islamism. And also, knowing what we know as Moorish American Muslims and studying more science, we know that we create with our thoughts. Islam, our mind is so powerful that whatever we focus our thoughts on, we create in the physical, and that's how we create our world around us. So if we are strictly in our lower selves, we are always going to attract lower level, lower energy, everything around us, even the people. So, like you said before, if it's strictly based on physical appearances, and there's no higher connection there, we are setting ourselves up for failure. automatically, unless we can build with that person from the bottom up and create something that wasn't there before, as far as building, growing, being mature and studying one another and understanding our needs and our wants and our desires, and knowing that we're not perfect, but as long as we're working towards it together, it can possibly become, something beautiful. But most people are not thinking on those levels when, it's just based on physical appearances, lust, and, just all the sexual distractions that's thrown at us every day. Okay. Um, in my profession, I'm a massage therapist. Um, women more and more are coming to me, after getting, these surgeries and these enhancements. And it's not because, they were feeling bad about themselves and they wanted to, look good for inside, they want to show it off. This is for look at me, cool points, social media likes, okay? And they're caught up in this world, the cares and the worry of the world, the same thing that the prophet was taking humanity, aka us women, out of, so that we could focus on creating a better future and raising our children in the light. The society is pulling us backwards and it's bringing us down. And we have to be the ones to break the cycle, or our future generations are going to be doomed. Islam?
Islam.
Islam. So yeah, these instructions are extremely important. As the sister said, this is the science of mating. We have to do this. We can see, I mean, we don't even really need to discuss. I'm pretty sure everybody on here has a good idea of how this is, what's currently being practiced by a lot of people, how it's tearing our society down, especially us, especially our community. Okay. And it's out of order with our divine nature. And so this is to get us back in accordance. This is for our earthly salvation. And this is the only way to succeed. Okay, so we can't put a Band-Aid on it. We have to actually practice this. Islam. Does anybody else have anything they wanted to add or share?
Peace. I did. Back on the remember thine own imperfections. And before it says reprove her faults with gentleness. Just remember that we fall short as well, and we shouldn't like try to be as strict or like hold somebody to perfection or something like that, or an unrealistic standard. To just remember we mess up as well. Pretty much treat people how you want to be treated type deal.
Islam. And that goes back to everything around us is a reflection of who we are on the inside. The mate that we attract is who we are, whether we realize it or not. And it lets us know if we need to work on ourselves and build ourselves up. Because like I said, you cannot love someone unless you love yourself. There's so many people in relationships today where they're unhappy, they don't know where this relationship is going. They're having issues, they're fighting, and they're feeling distant. And it's like, it's usually that person wanting more from the other person. And that right there always tells me that you don't have enough self-love and self-knowledge, because if you did, you wouldn't want so much from another person. You should find happiness. You should be able to find happiness with yourself in any situation that you're in. And the love and everything else will follow if it's meant to be. And if it's not meant to be, then, you know, that's just a learning hump that you will get over, you know, and then you'll be ready for your soulmate. Islam.
Islam, that's on point. And somebody asked what decree means, or they wanted the definition of decree, and that's an official order issued by a legal authority. So when you have a divine decree, right, those are orders from Allah. Islam. All right, and so you can look at these two as divine decrees. This is, of course, we discuss ordinance. That's also an order from Allah, because we're being given orders from Allah for a man to take up a wife and become a faithful member of society. So remember that, right? And yeah, that's all I had to say on that. Does anyone else have anything they want to share? Islam, can we get some feedback on the census? How many people have taken the census so far? We did it here at our household. Is anyone else?
Peace. I'm actually getting ready to do it. I just got another card in the mail.
Islam.
I did it about 2 months ago.
Islam. Has anyone else done the census?
We've done it as well.
Islam.
We're about to do them tonight.
Okay, so almost everybody's in. To the brother on the phone, have you taken the census yet? He must be on mute. But so anyway, if you're able to, tomorrow at 5 p.m., the Supreme Grand Sheikh of the Moorish Science Temple of America will be on a meeting or a conference call with one of the directors, the national directors for the U.S. Census, and they're going to be discussing the census and fielding questions also. So if you have questions, you can ask them in the chat. And the brother Keith Andrew Gell, the Supreme Grand Sheikh, will be explaining the national directive from the Moorish Science Temple of America for us as far as what to do on the census, what to mark down, whether you should participate or not, and discussing how it benefits us, what it's for, why we're doing that, just giving the instructions, going over everything, and explaining it in detail. So I advise everybody to check that out tomorrow, 5 p.m. And it'll be a great discussion. Just for the people, though, real quick, who haven't done it yet, make sure, I'm going to zoom in on this if you're able to see it on the screen, and I'll just explain it for the people on the phone. Go to the portion where it says race. Do fill out the census. Okay, do it, because correcting your name and or nationality, race, whatever, on the 2020 census gives the federal government notice of your permanent name and or race, nationality correction. Okay, so do fill out the census, put your El or Bay on there on your name, and then on the part where it says race, check the box that says some other race and write in Asiatic Moorish. And then you can also check the box that says American Indian and write in Moor. Okay, and I'll just keep that short. If you'd like to know more about this, if we have your email, we can send you these slides that I have up right now, more information on it. And then also, you can watch the video tomorrow and learn more. But we advise everybody to do that. We partner with the census as a complete count committee to help count our people, and also to more accurately identify ourselves, to self-identify. Okay. So, and we believe, of course, that what we're doing, what we're advocating for is more historically accurate for race and national origin. And it's important to self-identify, not going along with what we've been branded as or pushed into. So definitely check that out on YouTube tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Does anybody else have any thing they wanted to say or any questions? Okay. So, yeah, so check that out on YouTube. And one thing, I think you wanted to ask something about next Saturday, right? Next Saturday for Hocking Hills. No. Okay. So yeah. Nobody has any questions or not anything to say. We're gonna go into the closing of the meeting. All right, Brother Jackson Bay, would you please read the additional laws?
Praise Allah. The additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Ali. Act 1. Grand sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Ali. Before acting upon by any member, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from office under heavy restrictions, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their added meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If a member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for it as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able to give finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hand, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while of making public speeches, must not use any assertion against the American flag, or to speak radically against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out of your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopian, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865, during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. Islam, Islam, Islam.
All right, Islamism. Thank you, brother. Brother Cole Bay, would you please read the writs of the prophet?
Islam, definitely. I rise and give honor to the great God Allah. Give prophets to Noble Drew Ali. Give prophets to all Muslims on this call today. Happy holiday, Muslims. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while they're working in their homes and on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards our prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is instructions from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow. Allah's punishment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. Then the time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali, and that is why many hearts are turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear. At least they will be confined of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good works. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now of our side of the nation, real. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me, and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through the jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nation of the world will not recognize the movement without either prophet being proven by my work in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy holiday, Moors.
Islamism. All right. Thank you, brother. Islam. All right. So, that wraps up everything. Yeah, we're about to go ahead and go into the closing of the meeting. I want to thank you all for coming in today. Let's see. We do this again Sunday at 7. For the brother on the phone, I think I know who you are. Maybe I sent you the the registration and everything. Make sure you print that out. Don't email it to us, as we'll need to get a physical copy.
Islam. It's Brother Namir.
Islam. So yeah, what we do on Fridays though, Holy Day, we just go through the Quran chapter by chapter. We started it.
Okay.
We're on 22. We on 23 next. We just go through it. Sometimes we break down the esoteric meaning. Sunday we do the Quran questionnaire. For the most point, like, people need to understand this, because the Quran contains our laws in it, as well as the Constitution and the additional laws. It's important for us to know this and understand it inside and out, because we are the ones who make up our society, right? The Prophet created the society for us, established the government. Everything is within the Moorish Science Temple of America. Everything is here for us. Now we have to come in, understand it, learn, know what it means, and conduct ourselves like this for our betterment. And
Islam.
what we do so that we understand our society inside and out. All right. So, and then it's always open for questions too, as well. So we're going to go ahead and close everything out. I appreciate you all. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you are able to, please rise and face the east for the closing prayer. You stand up straight. You'll have your heels together, feet at a 45-degree angle. Hold up 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left, face the east. You do not need to repeat after me. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islamism. All right. Thank you, Moors. Peace and love. We will talk again Sundays, same time, 7 p.m.
Islam, happy holiday, Muslims. Have a
Islamism,
great
happy holiday, Moors.
evening.
Peace and love.
Peace, love, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Peace and love. Happy holy day.